Hello everyone, this is WCS Sports Connection Coaches Preview Show. I'm Jeremy Qualls, Athletic Director for WCS, and my guest today is the Centennial Cougars head coach, Brian Rector. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good. I want to start off, since I am new, and you're a veteran of this show.
Okay.
I'd like for you to tell everybody your coaching career, a quick synopsis of where you've been and how things have been going, and a little bit of recap of last year for us.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a bundle. So let me start it out. This is my 19th year of coaching. I spent 6 years in the state of Kentucky coaching football around the Owensboro and Louisville area. Then I moved down here to Middle Tennessee, opened up Ravenwood High School. Was there 7 years, had some success. Was lucky enough to win a state championship and play for another. Then spent 2 years at Western Kentucky as a graduate assistant coaching the offensive line and running backs. Came back, of course, into high school football, and I'm now in my 4th year at Centennial. We have done some really good things at Centennial in my time there. We've been able to establish a program that at least, at the very least, has respect and plays with heart and with effort. The student body has responded very well to the high expectations, and we're very proud of what we've built. Last year was a little on the downside. There was probably 2 or 3 plays in our season that kept us from being a 6-4, maybe even 7-3 team to what we were, which was a 5-5. And in the modern day, last year and this year playoff synopsis, if you're 6A and you only win 5 games, that's probably not going to be enough to get you in. And so, unfortunately, we did not qualify for the state playoffs last year. Obviously, we have been all off season, and starting tonight are very focused on changing that trend for 2014.
Absolutely. I know that the anxiety and the excitement building up to tonight is unreal, especially for a head coach that has been preparing all off season long, and your guys. Tell us a little bit about that preparation going into tonight's game.
Sure. Well, it's funny, you especially the first game of the season, and this is probably true in any sport. You ask yourself, did I cover everything? And you've been working on stuff since January, and really, you get 3 weeks off, and we didn't make the playoffs, so we had 3 weeks off. We even did a boot camp in December. So we've been working on 2014 since the end of 2013. So at the end of the day, and after doing this for a little while, I'm a little bit more calm, although my assistant coaches would probably disagree with that. But I'm a little bit more calm that we've done what we need to do to be ready for the first game. One thing is a definite: you're never going to be as good in your first game as you will, say, your 3rd or 4th or 10th game. There's just certain things that you don't get covered. There's certain things or aspects that kids have to play into, whether it's conditioning, tackling, or whatever. So the preparation, I'm very proud of our kids, very proud of our staff for the way we prepared our team to start the season. And but there's always that little bit of nervousness that did you do enough, and how will the kids actually do now that when the lights come on this evening?
That goes to tell you, I'm going back on something you said earlier about the preparation. As the year goes, as a former coach, it never ends.
Never.
The all season never ends. You go home to your family and you bless your wife and your children, and we kind of get them the short change of the deal, especially during season. But the preparation and the thought process never ends, and we have to constantly evolve and move and help those kids. And as the year goes along, it's nothing more joyous to see as the kids start to learn your system and learn the little nuances of things that you wanted to start off the year that they may not have. Moving on, the Franklin homepage released their 2014 preseason team, all Williamson County football team, and you've got some players on that team. I want to talk about those guys real quick. On the offensive side of the ball, probably no stranger to our viewers, Emmanuel Hall.
Right.
What can you tell us about Emmanuel?
Well, he's a phenomenal athlete, a great young man. He's committed to Missouri, and even though I've done this 19 years, that's literally the only BCS scholarship athlete I've ever had, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but because I've enjoyed my career, but he's the first athlete of his type that I've ever had the honor of coaching, and he gets after it. He's long, rangy, very strong, and I don't know that even when he got into high school, he thought he could do what he is now doing, especially when it comes to things like the weight room and his speed and his agility and things of that nature. And so, after his sophomore and especially after his junior year, he really just kind of, as the term goes, blew up with recruiting. And so we're looking forward to playing with him this year.
Well, you've got something that a lot of people may not have in your position. You've actually got college experience on the coaching side of things. So, tell me how that played into preparing him, and also the recruiting process of these coaches coming in?
You know, that's the big thing, is really just the recruiting process. You know, one of the big things that it did for me being 2 years in of college is when I got back, I wasn't starstruck about whoever would walk into our school.
Right.
You know, it didn't matter, you know, whether it was James Franklin or Nick Saban or, you know, whoever, you know, Dabo Sweeney, it didn't matter. To me, I wasn't ever going back to college. Those guys are just guys to me, you know. But to see the kids light up when dudes like that walk into school, it's pretty special, you know. It really is. It's really cool for them. And so what I was able to do was really, you know, educate, you know, the players and the families on what is real and what is not real, because so much of college recruiting is just,
absolutely,
quite frankly, not real. It's all a facade.
And especially with the conference that we're dealing with, Missouri and the SEC, which is the #1 premier football conference in the country.
It is.
There is a lot of car salesmen going on.
There is.
During that process. I had the opportunity to see a little bit of that. I coached the player Stephon Johnson, and Vanderbilt signed him off the basketball floor, believe it or not, to play defensive back and a cornerback, and it was interesting to hear those guys in the way. And I had the opportunity to do Dante Hightower.
Sure.
And, of course, they weren't getting him off the basketball floor.
Right.
Saban came in on that deal, and it's just really interesting and neat to see how that works and those guys coming in. So what about Deion Sanders? He's another one that's on this list.
He is. Deion is a phenomenal young man, great leader. He has a charisma. Okay, that's what Deion has that is well above and beyond maybe anybody that we have.
Does that kind of go with the name, maybe?
It may. I don't know. Everybody always asks me that, but it is fitting. I mean, this kid, he'll be there on a Sunday doing extra stretching and speed work. You know, he's the guy that'll get kids together to do this or that. You know, he's got a great personality. He's smart. You know, has a tremendous, you know, acumen mentally and physically. So he's going to be very special. A phenomenal baseball player as well. Probably could be a kid that I know he could play both in college. Don't know if he will, but definitely could play both in college. So he's a special young man.
It's kind of ironic, the name that he plays and excels at both of those sports.
I know what it is, isn't it?
Last on the list is Tyrell Dotson on the defensive side of the ball. What can you tell us about Tyrell?
Yeah, Tyrell has really gotten to be just a physical, massively physical presence. And he's a kid that we have seen grow up a little bit, or a lot, as I might say, since his freshman year in terms of taking football serious and taking his academics serious, and then being a guy that really wants to be there for his team. You know, as a coach, yes, we all want athletes. Yes, we all want really, you know, the biggest and the best and the fastest. Right. But maybe more than anything, as a coach, we want team guys. We want guys that are going to be there for our team, and they're going to care about something more than themselves. And that's been great to see that develop in Tyrell. At 6'2" and 230, he's already got an offer from Austin Peay. Deion actually has an offer from Austin Peay as well. So he's just a rising junior. So he has a tremendous upside to do, you know, a lot bigger and a lot better. Should he be able to stay healthy?
Well, you know that those role players can be just as important as the superstars.
They are.
The thing about the superstars are they can make or break you, depending on their attitude and their responsibilities of your team. But those kids that are maybe not necessarily getting the limelight every single night, that do all the nitty gritty, the hard work, and they're the ones that make the team so cohesive and important.
And they really do. And I don't, you know, make no mistake about it. We ask our big time players. They do the hard work too. They do the nitty gritty. They do the little things that we ask everybody to do. And because if they don't, you won't have a very good team. So we make everybody, regardless of your athletic ability, pretty much do the same things, and that's what helps us become a better team, at least in my opinion. And it's good. As long as everybody sees that everybody's sort of, you know, chopping on the same block of wood, that's right. It helps you have a better team, no question. Regardless
of their skill set, skill level, athletic ability, or who's getting offered from where, they all have to be in the same boat, especially on the high school level. So that's interesting. So going into Week 0, I want you to spotlight some of your coaching staff for us. Let us know about your coaches, what their responsibilities are, and some highlights with those guys.
Sure, absolutely. On the offensive side of the ball, our offensive coordinator is Brett Tavo, came from Kansas City, Missouri. This will be his 4th year. Does a great job, works with quarterbacks. Offensive line coach Tom Schumann, who's been in the area for about 10 or 12 years now, was at Ravenwood with me. Brought him over whenever I came to Centennial, best O-line coach I've ever seen. You also have Rob Boffman, our head baseball coach, coaches our running backs. So we always get on his case because he always gets the best athletes every year. You know, they're at the running back position. And then Paul Perucci, who is not a teacher in the building, but a sub and a paraprofessional coach, coaches our wide receivers. On defensive side of the ball, we have our defensive coordinator, Michael Copley. It's in his third year. He coaches the linebackers, both inside and outside. Our defensive line coach is Wade Privet. This is his third year. He's also our athletic director at Centennial. And then our defensive backs coach is Joe Rietfeld, who is now in his second year with us. And he also came to us from over at Ravenwood as well. So really, really good staff members. Our freshman coach is Greg Stout, who's been with me since I've been here at Centennial. So we have really good staff members, really great cohesion. And let me tell you, you can't come in that coach's office and have thin skin. I'll tell you that much right now, because we like to get on each other's case and have fun with it. That's for sure.
And that's part of that camaraderie that you have as your coaching staff. If you don't have that, it's just like having the role players. It's tough to do. I actually had the opportunity, to come watch a little bit of your practice not too long ago, and it's a lot of fun seeing a full coaching staff like what you have hard at work. I know it's fulfilling from a head coach to take a step back and seeing every one of your position coaches going hard at their stations, being passionate about what to do, watching the kids respond, and that left hand and right hand coming together and working perfectly. I know that is a fulfillment that it's hard to describe.
Yes, I'm very lucky as a head coach to have the staff that I have, and our administration has been very supportive in helping me build that. So I couldn't be any happier in that regard.
And I think on top of that is you have a win-win situation when you have a basketball coach, and in your case, a baseball coach in the trenches with you. And I think it's so important in high school level athletically to be communicating with each other, sharing athletes, and all being a part of the same cause.
It's huge. If you can't share athletes at the high school level, I don't know why we're at high school. At that point, it's just a dumbed down version of college, and that's not what anybody should really be about.
Well, let's talk about maybe possibly some of your seniors that you have on the team.
Sure.
I know we've spotlighted a few here with Emmanuel and them. Let's go on and talk about more of your seniors.
Sure, absolutely. We have two senior quarterbacks in Owen Roth and Connor Rietfeld, both of whom will see some time. Owen will likely be the starter, is the starter this evening. We have a couple of wide receivers in Josh Colson. We have Trent McDermott, who's a defensive back and wide receiver. On the senior spotlight, we also have, Malcolm Miles is a center for us on the offensive line, and Tate Simpson is a senior tight end. We've got Bryce Whitman over on the defensive side of the ball. He's pretty much our best returning defensive player from last year, leading tackler, so we're looking for really big things out of him, number 57. Tomas Williams as an outside linebacker. He did that last year. And then, that's probably just about, I'm sure I missed a senior or two there, and I apologize to those guys and to those moms and dads on the front end. But those are the guys that come to mind immediately as we're talking about, dudes that are getting in the game and getting a lot of playing time.
Okay. So with that same thread there, tell us a little bit, maybe the expectations. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. What can we expect from the Centennial Cougars this year?
Yeah, we've struggled a little bit in our preseason in being able to run the football. We haven't ever been able to get our two running backs, Dodson and Sanders, out there, at the same time for any of our scrimmages.
And that's due to injuries.
Yes,
correct?
Just due to bumps and bruises, and you hold a guy out, and you know how that goes. So a junior like Mondu Sawyers has stepped up big time. But, we really need to have everybody healthy. I mean, that's the key for us and probably anybody in the mid-state. Your best players have got to play, and they can't get injured. One of your best players gets injured, hey, you're just not as good a football team, and that's just how it goes. But that's the case at any single level that you ever see. A quarterback for an NFL team goes down, they're most likely not going to be as good, So with that being said, offensively, we've got to be able to establish the run. Our quarterbacks are better at throwing the ball. They weren't very good last year at doing that, but we're better at throwing the ball in the passing game. The key there is going to be our protection. Can we hold up our protection, which Coach Schumann and myself are working very hard at that, and then make those first downs. So that's the key for us offensively.
I happened to notice when I was at a practice, you were running through some wide receiver drills, and I feel that it's very important that the receivers understand if the play may or may not be run their way, that we are we're ripping through, we're hitting guys, we're going through and making sure that we're selling the play regardless of what's happening and the responsibilities of that. And that goes back to that role player, regardless of your athletic ability, that it's important that every play that we're doing, each of our individual assignments, in order for the team to win.
Well, I agree, and we preach it. We don't always get it. I'd be a liar if I sat up here and said we do. I don't know that anybody ever does on every play, obviously. But that's why football to me is the greatest game. It's 11 guys on your side, and they've got to go do something against 11 guys on the other side. And if so much as one doesn't do what they're asked to do, you can fail. But when everybody does what they're supposed to do, and you have success, it's a great feeling.
And the difference between football and basketball to me is, you may get away one play for not doing something, but eventually it's going to come up to light. Basketball, you have 5 guys on the court, and if one blows an assignment, it's pretty automatic. But either way, it's going to result in something bad happening. So it's hard to get those guys to understand that, but that's an ongoing battle.
And it's a lot easier to recover from 2 points than it is 7 points.
That is absolutely the truth, and I don't disagree with you on that.
That's a big thing there, huh?
So let's flip to the other side.
Sure.
Defensive expectations. What do you expect to see on the defensive side of the ball? Maybe what kind of defense will we expect to see tonight?
Yes, we run a 3-4 defense first off, and not to say it too plainly or to be too blunt, those that know me understand that that's kind of the way I operate. But what I expect to see is something way different from last year, because we couldn't stop the run to save our lives. And we've emphasized that all off season, and we haven't browbeated the kids by any stretch of the imagination on that. You do that, I think you put them into a hole. But we've occasionally reminded them about our mission on defense, to stop the run and to, as we call it, hawk the ball when it's in the air on the pass.
Absolutely.
Those sorts of things, the aggressiveness, the flying to the football, the gap assignment. We need to be solid on all that. No, we're not the greatest athletes on defense, but we have seen our kids work tirelessly on defense pretty much all year long, and especially in the preseason, to be way better than what we were at this point in time last year. At this point in time last year, we gave up 555 yards rushing to Clarksville Northeast. That
probably hasn't sit well for the whole year.
No, that is beyond disturbing.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And so we absolutely have to come out of the gates better than that this year, just to even have any confidence that we can have success moving forward. There's no question defense can win you championships, as they say.
Sure.
And you've got to have at least a decent to a good defense to be in almost any game that's on our schedule.
Okay, thank you very much. When we return from break, we're going to discuss tonight's matchup with Centennial Cougars and the Northeast Eagles. Thank you. Welcome back to the WCS Coaches Preview Show. I'm Jeremy Qualls, Athletic Director, here with Brian Rector of the Centennial Cougars. Let's talk about tonight's game, Coach. Let's talk about tonight versus Northeast. Let's give us a little preview about what you're going to see, what you're going to run offensively against Northeast's defense.
Sure. Offensively, we're a spread no-huddle offense, and so you'll see lots of outside zone. You'll see counters. You'll see power. You'll see screens and short game passes. You'll see a couple play actions. So pretty much the normal type of stuff. We're not an option-based team or anything like that, unlike Northeast, who will run that. In order for us to do well, we have to be able to run the football. There's no question about that, and that probably goes with any school, anywhere. We've got to be able to run the football, establish some run games, move the sticks, and then see if we can't get their defensive backs or linebackers, as the case may be, whoever they decide to make that, climb into that box a little bit and then get our passing game going.
So obviously when you run the no-huddle offense, the hurry-up offense, you have to be in good shape, including linemen and everybody else.
That's right.
Is there a lot of pulling action going on out of that, or a lot of movement going on from the line guys when you run that against the Northeast team tonight?
I wouldn't call us necessarily a misdirection type of offense by any stretch of the imagination, but there's definitely movement. There's no question. Our zone plays are designed for hat on a hat, so how much the defense moves kind of dictates how much we move in a lot of ways, if people can understand the zone play. But there's also some really hard-nosed type things that come into play, like our power play and things of that nature. Our receivers, they got to block every single running play, because those are where your big runs really come from. They come when a receiver's downfield making a block, as you alluded to earlier, and that is absolutely paramount to our success. That, and obviously not turning the ball over, taking care of the football, we feel like we can be okay.
And it's super important as they reach those second levels that the downfield blocking is taking place to try to get the extra amount of yardage that you can possibly get.
No question.
What defenses do we expect them to see? I know you covered a little bit about it. Can you tell us a little
Sure.
bit about their defense?
Yeah, they're gigantic up front, offense and defense, and they're two-way guys. So hopefully conditioning will play into our favor,
especially this early in the year.
Especially this early in the year, and with the way it looks like the temperature is tonight. So they are huge up front. They run a 4-4 defense, so that's an 8-man box. Basically, we have seen them in some 7-man box situations, but we expect them to settle into a 4-man, 6-man box or 8-man box rather. And commit to stopping the run. They are, like I said, huge up front, athletic outside linebackers. They've got a safety that's going to be about 12 to 15 yards deep and corners that are about 7 yards off. We feel like there's some opportunities to hit the flats in the passing game.
Sure.
And if we can do that and pick them up, then maybe we can get them deep. But, you know, any offense, you got to kind of do some things and see how the defense is going to play it before you commit to doing, you know, a ton of things in the passing game.
You mentioned earlier that you have 2 quarterbacks, and
Right.
I hope it wasn't anything like the Manziel fiasco when you're going into to select your starting quarterback. But with that being said, does one quarterback specialize with the passing more so than the other?
You know, I don't think so. I think that you know, Owen probably, you know, has just had more experience in the passing game, and Connor's a little bigger, Connor Rietfeld, and so he probably is a little bit more effective in the run game. But we feel like they both can do the basic stuff that we want them to do. We're kind of going to do the hot hand deal. You know, who's got the hot hand? Let's go. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, we expect maybe a higher percentage of passing, higher percentage of runs. What kind of? You know,
gosh.
Some of these coaches say, we
Yeah.
throw the ball 5 times a game, 4 times in warm-ups. You know, it's just one of those
Right.
deals.
Not that deal. No,
Okay,
no.
and with the spread offense, it spreads the field. Obviously, is there a percentage that you like to look at airing it out a little bit?
You know what? The honest to goodness truth is, if we're going into any game, you know, I would of course be happy saying 50-50. But as long as we win the game, it doesn't matter.
That's exactly right.
It really doesn't matter. We're always going to find things that are positive, hopefully, and I know we're always going to find things that are negative and that we need to work on. So bottom line is, if we could be 50-50 and have basically a 50 to 75% success rate on all of those, just in general, that's when you know the formula goes. So I look at success rate more than I do, say, a pass or run percentage.
I know that's a tough question because obviously it's going to be situational. If things are not working out that night for the passing and for whatever reason, you know, obviously we have to make adjustments as coach to do that.
That's
but
right.
on the defensive side of things,
Right.
what do we expect to see from Northeast? What are they going to be doing?
Well, those same guys are over there on offense, and they're massive. I mean, they really are massive. So we're going to have to use our speed and our quickness. They'll be largely in either a spread or a double wing set. Okay, a double wing is about 1 and 1 off the offensive tackle with 2 splits outside. From that, they love the option, they love the veer, they love the ISO plays. Counter and power, basically. From the spread sets, it's a little bit more of their either inside run game or their screens and, of course, drop back passing. And so they have a quarterback that can throw the ball pretty good, run it pretty decent, and effectively, we've got to take care of, anytime, I hate to sound generic, but anytime you're playing anybody on defense, you got to defend it north, south, and east and west.
Sure.
We just flat out didn't do that last year. We didn't tackle. We missed 40 tackles last year in this game. So run to the ball, tackle, hawk the football. Same things we've been preaching since last December. Those things, if we can do those, they'll rule the day.
How many guys, you mentioned Northeast running a lot of two-way guys, and in high school football, it's inevitable that you're going to have your best athletes running two ways. How many of those guys that you have going two ways?
Yeah, we probably have the most people that we probably have that are really big-time two-way players, right at about, I would say, 4 to 5, 4 to 6 maybe. Everybody plays both ways, as in practice. So if you have 2 guys go out with cramps or injuries or whatever, then they'll go in and all of a sudden they're playing every play, both sides of the ball. Most of them, of course, are skill kids.
Always.
Yeah. And we have a couple of linemen that will play both ways. One of them is Dylan Phillips, a junior. He'll play offensive tackle and defensive end. And yeah, we'll have to watch him. There's no question about it. We'll have to watch several of them, especially on a night like tonight.
Sure.
But we have to be very smart and be on top of the rotations as coaches, especially early on in the season.
You keep mentioning tonight, just to let people know, heat index is going to be nearing 100, and we've got to be very careful about keeping fluids in the kids. You don't want anybody going down with cramps and injuries, especially at a crucial moment.
No question.
And, you hate to see the other team do the same, and we hope that all our athletes, whether on our side or not, are safe in these particular scenarios. But let's talk real quick as we close about the upcoming season. Where are you going to feel like, region-wise, how everybody may play out, and statewide?
Yeah, well, region-wise, I think this is a year where there are teams kind of like last year, where there's some teams that people are very unsure of. So we could have a dark horse. Last year I think Ravenwood, they caught a lot of lightning in a bottle. Coach Hester did an amazing job and, ran the table in the region. And I don't think that was necessarily expected, but they, like I said, they caught lightning in a bottle and they did it. And, for them to do that was really special for them. This year, I think that there could be a team that does that as well. From a talent perspective, I like what Franklin has. They have the best quarterback in the district, and in the Critchlow kid, he does an amazing job. And I think that at the end of the day, this could come down to the last week of football in Williamson County, as it did last year, which is nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely
that's
not.
good. Now we have to ask the question: does that mean we're all good, or does that mean we're all pretty average? I don't really know, but I'll tell you this much: you mentioned statewide. We're all probably pretty average to schools like Blackman, Oakland, and Maryville out east. I think everybody in 6A football, since that's what we largely are as a 6A district,
right.
I think everybody in 6A football in the whole state might be chasing them.
But as far as our conference goes, as we come down to the last week and it's coming out to play, and for those top 4 or 5 spots, that's an athletic director's dream. And
Sure.
and for you guys, I hope that for a culture standpoint from a school, there's nothing more than everything being at stake on every play,
Right.
and having your guys do so. But I cannot say thank you enough for being here.
Sure.
I enjoy our time together. I just want to say a few things about tonight against Northeast. With the I-65 traffic experience, we know that you must probably leave early for tonight's game. We also have construction at Centennial.
That's right.
Is there anything that we need to know as far as the construction works and parking at Centennial?
Right. There will be parking available on the band practice field, which is on the soccer field. This is the place closest to Liberty Pike. Okay. Our athletic director has mapped out parking spots over there. Our parking lot has just been reduced due to a fence that's up around our auditorium. So there's not near as many parking spots, and entry and exit out of really does not happen as easily as it used to. So we ask for people to be patient. We ask for people to arrive early. If you're anywhere near the stadium, local community fans, walk over, please. That would help us out as well. But we need everybody in the stands, no matter how you get there. We don't really care. Drop in on a helicopter, ride a boat, take a taxi. We don't care. Just get there.
Well, make sure you guys come tonight, 7 o'clock at Centennial. Cougar Nation will be loud and proud against Northeast. Make sure you allow enough time for traffic tonight. And you'll see the replay tonight at midnight for this game on this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Brian Rector from Centennial. Thank you so much. I'm Jeremy Qualls, Athletic Director. Thank you for tuning in.
Hi, my name is Tanir. I chose this book because the pictures are really good. This is one of my favorite pictures, and you can learn some facts about them too. This is one of my favorite facts. It tells a lot about history, and it tells you different types of countries and like cities. And like German's like friend, he really likes the sport, and he wanted German Stelson to come with him and do the race across America with him. And German Stelson wins the race.
What should I make my password? Oh, I know. I'll make my password password. Passwords should be unique, private, non-personal, and secure. Use more than one word, use different character classes, use symbols and numbers, and use multiple passwords for different sites. And always remember never to share your passwords.